Hello and welcome to a special edition of Eagle's Eye. I'm your host, Josh Bashinsky, and today I'm joined by senior Aidan Nayak. Thanks for joining me today, Aidan.
Josh, thanks for having me.
Of course, and first and foremost, just to start the interview off, what prompted you to attend AU?
Yeah, I kind of have a bit of a weird story from the time it took me to join because I ended up committing super late. I committed about 2 weeks before class started. And one of the reasons I got interested is because I didn't really know if I wanted to pursue my undergraduate degree immediately. I didn't know if I wanted to take a gap year. But weirdly, I took Latin. That was our foreign language our school offered in high school for years. I took it from the time I was in 5th grade until I graduated my senior year. My Latin teacher told me, he said, I graduated from Ashland University. It's this random rural college in the middle of, kind of Amish country area, and there's not a lot that goes on there. And I looked into it, and it was very similar to my hometown of Marietta, Ohio. And in the end, I got interested in one of the political science programs here, and of course the digital media program. And it seemed the right fit, and here I am 4 years later about to graduate, which is insane to me.
I know,
it worked out.
And looking over at the past 4 years, what have been kind of the best moments that you've had while being here at AU?
I've loved it all. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think as far as undergraduate experiences go, people always talk about, I had a bad year this year, and then my sophomore year got better, and they always talk about it, how it comes in ebbs and flows. And it genuinely is like that, and I had that experience too, but I feel fairly consistently, I just had the time of my life. I loved it. I enjoyed, whether it was crewing here with people like you, being with my friends, Rodney Atkins, just a bunch of different people like that, and just having that community and having that experience, or my other department, or going to B-dubs like we did last night, going out to eat with friends, or enjoying a nice meal together and having a good time. Whatever it was, I always had the best time here, and I'm thoroughly going to miss that.
Absolutely, and I understand you are both a member of the JDM department, along with the Ashbrook Center. Yeah. What kind of made you want to explore these areas of education?
It's interesting because I'm very much interested in things like visual media and digital media, but then to have that humanity side that kind of roots it, that kind of has an understanding of you want to explore human nature, you want to explore sort of the great text and great speeches of the past and things like that, and being able to couple that with the way we do storytelling here, whether it's news, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's the election show that you and I got to work on together, and that which was a crazy time too, insane, but whatever it is, I feel like those things ended up complementing each other really well. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to pursue career-wise, whether I'm going to lean more into the humanities side or the digital side, but whatever it is, I feel very prepared from both sides of this coupled together.
Absolutely, and looking back at this past academic year, you were given the opportunity to serve as the student body president. And many of the student body knows you as Mr. President.
Yeah, don't remind me, Josh.
Could you take a moment to kind of reflect on your past accomplishments in that role?
Absolutely, it was genuinely a fantastic time. It was stressful. I won't downplay it. I don't want to oversell it, make you think I was like president of the U.S. I didn't have like nuclear codes or anything crucial. We put on pizza parties with faculty once a semester. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I definitely did feel the pressure at times of, okay, I have to represent the entire student body, especially of these backgrounds of people I'm not exactly familiar with, whether it's nursing or the international persuasion or whatever it was. I realized that there was a whole lot of people with different experiences tailored to their experience that I didn't exactly feel comfortable representing everyone at first. By the end of it, I realized that my job as the president wasn't to know everything about every individual department. It was about delegation. It was about finding people who I could communicate what we need done to, and I could have a representative from the international department handle it, or someone from the nursing department, or someone from education. So as far as my accomplishments and what we as a Senate were able to do, I think that recruiting the highest number of senators for any student senate in the past was a big one. Expanding our correctional education program was huge. Making connections with philanthropy and with fundraising departments on campus, that was all big. And going forward, I know the next Senate's going to have no problem taking that over.
Absolutely, yeah. And looking at your leadership roles and all the different areas that you have kind of participated in,
right.
How would you say those roles have, what would you say they taught you, and how do you plan to implement those experiences into your life post-college?
Yeah, for sure. I think the number one thing that taught me was communicating with people I know are kind of at a higher level than I am when it comes to, kind of trying to ingratiate myself in the board of trustees meetings or people who I know run our school, I felt insecure at times, and I felt kind of terrified, like, oh, why am I here? Why of all people do they send me to do this? But in doing that, getting to communicate with these people who they know what they're doing and they like the students, they actually want us to have the best experience possible for being on campus. It made me excited and it made me happy, and it made me learn how to communicate with people who I genuinely would have had no interest or no comfort doing beforehand. Now they're people who I've made some of the best relationships with on campus, and I know going forward that's going to be huge.
Absolutely. And looking at like all these different roles that you've had to juggle as a student, how were you able to manage both these roles along with being a full-time student?
Yeah. Skipped a lot of classes. Just don't do your homework, things like that. Not actually, but one of the most, I think, important things that I learned is in balancing that is the fact that while it is important that student government side and being president was important, I'm here to get my degree. Those classes are kind of paramount. Coming here and doing this and training on all the equipment, running breaks, that's important. That's what we're here to actually do. But in doing that, it brought me a new appreciation of why student government does matter. If you want something in your department to be better, or you want something in dining to be better, you can advocate for that on student government. And I think in doing that, it made me have this new appreciation of being a student that made me put that first, while also knowing that that student government side and being president underlined everything I did.
Absolutely. And looking back at the past 4 years, is there anything you wish you would have done differently while being here at AU?
No. I did everything. I generally do feel like I did everything I wanted to do. I got to go and stargaze with the astronomy club. I gotta bake with the bread club. I got to be in a political science sort of community of the Ashbrook program. I got to be here doing this with some of my best friends. And I felt in all my classes and all the clubs I got to be a part of me, even the stressed side of me, feels that I was never overworked and I never felt stressed out because I got to do it with people whose company I enjoy, like you, like Nick, like all of our friends. I got to enjoy it so much, so I kind of have no regrets about the last 4 years.
That's incredible to hear. And as you conclude your college career, what kind of legacy do you hope to kind of leave behind you?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was at this alumni dinner a couple weeks back, and one of the speakers who was a recipient of the awards got up, and he was talking a little bit about how he was student body president back in the late 70s. And my eyes lit up, and I was like, he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like. And it's, again, I'm not trying to oversell it, and it's not a huge job or anything like that, but I went up to him and I approached him and I talked to him, and we were just chatting back and forth, and he said, regardless of what you end up doing, and regardless of where you're going to be at career-wise, you and I have this special experience where we got to do this, and we were the one person who knows what that was like. And going forward, you may have served a year in this role, and you may have been a student for 4 years of this college, but that was formative for who you are. And whether people notice it or not, you did change the campus in some degree. I hope it's a positive way, but to some degree, he emphasized that we made a good change, and it's noticeable. So I hope that, regardless of my name's attached to it or not, people have a good experience going forward, and there are improvements.
Absolutely. And lastly, what would you say to the next generation? There's going to be freshmen coming in the fall. What would you say to this next generation of students?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always going to say that academics are so important, and that's why we're here, and that's what college is for. But at the end of the day, regardless of what I learned, because I did learn so much in each of my classes, and I feel a lot farther along in maturity and adulthood because of that, in a way that, when I came in, I kind of felt like a loser. I was kind of a jerk at times, but I feel so much more matured and refined because of all that. But at the end of the day, I will totally emphasize that the memories I'm going to hold on to and the things I'm going to remember are the time I spent with the individual people. It's going to be the time that you and I spent in the rec center playing ping pong. It's probably going to be this. It's probably going to be us dressing up to do this and have fun. It's going to be our lunches Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at Convo. It's going to be all of that. So as much as you might be stressed and as much as things might feel overwhelming at times for academics, you can't lose sight of the social aspect of it, of the people you get to know and the people who make you. So I would say, hang out with Josh next year. He's going to need a friend.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Yeah.
Like you said, looking back at all these times that we've had together, it's an understatement to say that I've thoroughly enjoyed being here with you at AU.
I love you, Josh. This is great.
Love you too, buddy. And thank you so much for tuning in with us. This has been a special edition of the Eagle's Eye. Be sure to follow us on all social media at AUTV. I'm Josh Pashinsky. Thanks for tuning in.